Hey guys, we're back again with another walk around. So a few weeks back, I asked at the end of the video, what else do you want to see? And one of the highly requested topics was all things Fleetneck. So today we're going to go out on the yard here at the factory. We're going to look at some different Fleetnecks, different models and options, and not just highlight the options, but talk a few minutes about why those options are good for you in the job you do and the life you live. So let's go take a look. All right, guys and gals, so when you're talking about gooseneck trailers, specifically Fleetneck trailers, there are tons of different combinations, lengths, weight capacities, all that good stuff. It doesn't take you very long when you're doing research to realize, oh my gosh, like there's a whole lot to go through here when you're trying to find the right gooseneck trailer for you. And so you really need to evaluate, what am I going to be doing with the trailer the most? Is it kind of wide open? Am I Hotshot hauling so I never know what I'm going to be putting on the trailer? Or am I needing it for a specific task? And so you can work with your dealer. Dealers will help educate you, will help give you insight and information and kind of point you in the general direction of, hey, this is the model you should look at. These are maybe the 2 or 3 models that could accomplish the job that you're wanting to do. So as I said, Fleetnecks, they start from lighter weight capacities, 15.5 GVWR, all the way up to 40K ratings. So we're going to take a look at multiple goosenecks that we have on the yard here, different options, and kind of talk through the options as to why that may be something that you should look at when you're building your next gooseneck trailer. I'm going to use the term basic very loosely right now. We're going to look at this FMAX 207, which we say is basic, but in terms of the gooseneck market, when you're looking at goosenecks, the FMAX 207 is anything but basic. It's an extraordinary unit in that it has the same engineered beam technology as all of our other FMAXs, and there are things about this trailer that come standard as standard equipment, whereas in other brands they would be options, and it's things that we don't sacrifice. We're not going to make it an option because we know that at the end of the day it contributes to the customer experience, that when you're investing hard-earned dollars into this trailer, it needs to be pretty well the best of the best from the get-go. Yes, there are tons of options you can add to it on top of the base, but this FMAX 207 has features that that other goosenecks in the market just wish they could offer. So like I say, it is the Fleetneck engineered beam. Now the 207s and the lighter weight Fleetnecks, they don't have as much camber in the frame as what you see on the big ones. That's because obviously they're not rated to have to carry nearly as much weight, so you don't need as much compensation in the bed. But this frame is cambered, the beams are engineered. The frame on this one is a 14-inch I-beam frame. Industry standard on this trailer is 12-inch, 14-pound beam, sometimes 12-inch 19, but in this case you're talking about a 2-inch taller beam overall, which height definitely makes up strength. And we have full control over the beam, the thickness of the material, the height, and there's a lot of power to weight ratio here. Now on the shorter 207s, the weight savings is not as drastic or as big of a number as it is when you do, say, like that AirRide that Brian is standing beside over there. When they're that long, you get a lot more opportunity for weight savings. So the weight of this and a traditional I-beam trailer are a lot closer. They're not so drastic, but you've got massive power gains in the height of the beam and the yield strength of the materials. So there are things on the FMAX 207, kind of like this engineered neck. You have the radiuses in the neck. I'm pointing out characteristics of all. You see even these other engineered beam goosenecks. This is characteristics of all of them, but it's such a value add that we put it into even the basic, I say basic 207 as well. The big wide toolbox, dual jack standard. Got the pull out steps. And on this one at the back, there's max ramps. So we're gonna move on. We'll look at some other options and other models. Moving up to a little bit heavier class trailer, the 207, that we were just talking about. In most cases, that trailer is going to be found on the farm, going to be hauling, general equipment. Could be on a light construction site, hauling maybe a small excavator or skid steer or something like that. most of the time, you know, tractor, kind of general usage. But when you go up from there, you get into more specific as far as what options you'll want or what standard features you're looking for and what kind of weight you're gonna haul. So the trailer we're looking at right here is an FMAX 212 SS. It appears to be 40 foot. This one has a lot of good extras on it. It's got AirRide, it has a chain rack. This trailer was built looking like it's probably going to a Hotshot or somewhere. 212 SS, that is two 12K axles and super single. So it has 4 super heavy duty wheels and tires on it versus 8 duals, which is kind of the standard on 12K axles is duals. On this one, we're running single tires, which there's pros and cons. You'll hear it both ways. Go post that on a forum and you'll get 100 different answers as to why people either like duals better than singles or singles better than duals. And so a lot of folks, you know, they like to have just 4 tires to worry about, less surface area on the ground to have to worry about, less tires to maintain. But on the flip side, you hear the argument that you have less tires, you know, and less surface area if you were to have an issue with a tire. So it can go either ways, but the SS has become increasingly popular over the years. So this one is an AirRide, dual batteries, dual ride wheel compressors, or these are Vivair quarter horse compressors. So AirRide is something that, oh man, it's been around a long time, but the glory about AirRide, you have never pulled a gooseneck trailer that's going to pull as smooth as what you have with AirRide. And in a lot of cases, it can get you extra loads if you're a hot shotter out there. You know, there is an ROI or return on investment when you go AirRide. And that's because there are loads that shippers will simply not let you pick up if you're not on air, whether it's delicate or what the case. But and then also, again, it's easier on the tow vehicle and on your suspension or on your trailer when you have AirRide, because everything is just kind of cushed. The bags, you know, and the air springs absorb that energy of the breaks in the road and the bumps in the road and the holes and things. You know, it absorbs it. So in here, like I say, we started out from the beginning, we run dual quarter horse compressors. It's a little quicker bag fill time, but also you have the redundancy that if you lose a compressor for some reason, you always have a second compressor to where you get to stay running for longer. It gives you, you know, the ability to iron out whatever the issue may be. But overall, the little Vivair compressors have been lights out. They're very dependable. There comes with some extra filters in here to replace. You'll want to make sure you keep those replaced. There is a manual dump that comes in that we put in line behind the gauge, as well as it has a little valve stem. So say you were to lose electric or lose compressors for some reason, you can actually pull up to an air tank and fill up your bags, fill up your tanks with the manual bag fill. So also this one has electric over hydraulic disc brakes. There's a little battery charger tester, standard. And it also has a dump or a lift axle valve. So right there we pulled that, and now you see that front tire is gonna start creeping off the ground. The cool thing about the lift axle is running lightly loaded or empty, you can actually incur less tolls because you have less axles effectively on the ground. And then also, if you're running empty or lightly loaded, you can, you know, not have wear and tear on the front axle and front set of tires. Let's see, this one is also just max ramps. What else does this one have? Looks to be, so last but not least, this one down, all the way down the passenger side has your 4-inch slide track all the way down the trailer with ratchets, 4-inch ratchets. These are for strapping down cargo. You see them a lot on the big rigs. A lot of people love the 4-inch ratchets, and it still has rubber stay pockets, so you can use regular 2-inch ratchets as well. So it kind of gives you more tie down ability. So right here we have a 216 This one looks to be probably 30, see, it's 30 footer. So it's a hydraulic dovetail. It's 18 plus 12. So 18-foot deck plus 12-foot hydraulic dove. This is a heavy duty beast. This one 216 is rated at 40,000 pound GVWR. This trailer probably weighs, let's see, it's gonna be in the, with oak floor, probably 8,800 pounds to maybe 9,000. So it gives you, this trailer has a payload of around 30,000 pounds, which is insane. I mean, that is huge. And so we'll kind of walk through some of the features. This one, I would imagine, you know, just kind of imagining who the target customer is, who ordered this trailer. Probably, obviously, being construction or Kubota, if I can say Kubota orange, that direction of orange color would be a construction site. You know, it's loud, you see it coming, it's hard to miss. Great marketing tool for a company, because say you have a construction company in your town and all your whole fleet is this construction orange. Hey, they know who that is. They know who's in town, they know who's working, they know who's getting it done. So this trailer is being only 30 feet, 40K rated, super stout little guy, probably hauling excavators, maybe even a light dozer, small to mid dozer, because this one you can see has rough cut oak floor. Now oak, a lot of people know, in a short period of time, if you don't seal it, stain it, I mean, it can get kind of ugly. I mean, just being real with you, over time, oak will not be nearly as pretty as some of the other flooring options, but what is guaranteed is that oak is way more dense and will last so much longer, especially when you're talking about putting any kind of tracked equipment on it, beating it with chains, different things. I mean, oak is gonna last a long time. And so, like I said, this is a rough cut oak floor compared to the standard 2-inch plain pine floor. This oak is gonna be way, way, way more durable. So, in this one, they've got oak, you know, down the sides and in the middle, and then on the Dove, they chose the full steel runner with cleats. So you can see this one over here, the other hydraulic Dove, that one's got blackwood on the outsides and pine in the center. The black one on the outsides is standard. On this one, they've opted for full steel runners with cleats for maximum traction. With the 5/8 square stock cleats, I mean, there's not a lot you're gonna go up here and lose traction, because it's gonna grab these cleats versus being more smooth like the blackwood. So, and it's got the oak in the center. So this is a super, super tough flooring option and tail design, because this person did the research, I'm assuming, and knows, hey, I need a very rugged floor and tail design, you know, to put up with the abuse or the work that I'm gonna use this trailer for. So, Hutch suspension standard when you're talking about 16K axles. Got the Valcrum aluminum caps, 215, 17.5, 16 ply wheels and tires. Let's see what it looks like inside this box. So inside the box, when you're talking about this setup, of course there's no compressors because it's not an AirRide unit, but you have your hydraulic pump, you have your hydraulic brake pump. So this trailer has hydraulic either disc or drums. I can't really tell. So this one has hydraulic disc brakes on 16Ks. It comes with all of our, anything that has a tilt or has a hydraulic dovetail comes with a wireless control. It's just a must when you're riding equipment or loading equipment on the trailer. So, single Group 27 series battery, KTI brand pump. Let's see. Oh, and this pump also, that's why it's got the selector valve. You can actually work the battery's not hooked up. We don't hook the batteries up on the yard so that there's no potential for them to be drained before shipping. They're tested at the door, they unhook one side of the battery. So, but this selector valve, it selects between hydraulic dovetail and hydraulic jacks. This trailer has both. That's the beauty of it, is that you can use the same pump to power both the jacks and the dovetail. All right, so lastly on this one, when we were talking 40K package, the 40K package, it makes the flange, bottom flange of the I-beam a lot thicker. That's, again, with engineered beam, we have so much control over the thickness of the material. You know, it's very intentionally engineered that, so we know this trailer's gonna be put under a lot of stress when you load 30,000 pounds on it. So we have a different beam for this versus the 216. Same profile, but it has a thicker bottom flange on it, thus it can handle more weight. And so not only is there a thicker bottom flange, there's some frame reinforcements, then you get up to the coupler. This trailer has the 40K Telus coupler on it. So this is a patent pending product that we developed, and the cool thing about it is it has 2 sections of adjustability, one here and one here, whereas all the 40K couplers on the market prior to this only had 1 section, only 3 inches of adjustment, not giving you hardly any versatility depending on what tow vehicle you're using. So on this one, you have about 6 to 7 inches here and 3 inches here, giving you pretty much the full range of adjustability as your traditional style round couplers on your lighter weight goosenecks. So the Telus coupler is a huge advancement in the 40K market, giving you the adjustability back, but also being wildly strong with these ribs around it, and then the thickness of the tube and reinforcements. So it's a sweet trailer. Again, you know, I spoke to it a little bit on the video the other day, but just one more point about the color. Orange, loud, hard to hide, and with the way trailers are stolen these days, it blows my mind. But with the way trailers are stolen these days, try to cover this trailer up. Try to cover it up. It would be a ridiculous task, right? So good theft deterrent. Let's go see what else we can find. All right, so I've spotted over here a deck on the neck. We've done a few videos on them. They are a neat addition to any gooseneck, not just Fleetnecks, but even like a LPD dump trailer with a gooseneck, or an LPX equipment trailer with a gooseneck. The deck on the neck is universal. It can be bolted on, it can be welded on. Here it is right here. It can be bolted or welded. This one happens to be welded on this FMAX. This is just a 210. But the beauty of it is it gives you added storage space on top of the deck up there for whether it's tarps or attachments, maybe even a pallet of goods up there. If you've got the whole rest of the deck, you know, filled up with cargo, you can actually use that as additional deck space. So again, it's available on all gooseneck trailers. And the cool thing about this one, if you do it even bolt on, you can put it on pretty much any gooseneck trailer, not just Diamond C's. So, but it is a weld on option as well. So the deck on the neck is a good tool. A lot of hotshotters do deck on the necks, but increasingly construction workers, landscapers, and even farmers are doing deck on the necks just to maximize their space. You know, this day and time, you know, you may only really want a 32-foot bottom deck, but essentially once you add an 8-foot or 7-foot long deck on the neck, now I've got a 39-foot, you know, trailer. So you've got some space for additional working space, that is. I've got one here that's got the 7-watt solar panel on it. That's a great option for if you've got a hydraulic dove like this one, or AirRide, or even just hydraulic jacks. That panel, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that panel is gonna keep your battery charged all the time. That's just not true. It is a battery tender, more or less. It's a trickle charger, but given a day like this, a beautiful day out here, it is putting energy back into that battery all the time, just constantly giving it little bites. And it has overcharge protection. That's one thing we should talk about for a second is, you know, this panel, I'm not sure, maybe it's 180 bucks or something. The difference between this and going online, say to Harbor Freight or one of those places and buying a cheap panel for 30 bucks is typically those don't have overcharge protection. These do. One of the most common reasons a lead acid battery will overfill is that they are overcharged. And so in this case, with the overcharge protection, you don't have to worry about that. This battery has a cutoff, so once this solar panel has a cutoff, once it senses being charged, it won't overcharge your battery. So it's a good addition to have, especially when a trailer is going to be, you know, used fairly often, but sit somewhere it's getting, you know, and it's not able to be plugged in. All the hydraulic trailers that have a battery on board have a plug-in charger, and so if you can't get it up close enough to a plug-in, the solar panel definitely helps offset that. Another option is LED work lights. You can get a pair of them. Again, this is pretty much on any gooseneck trailer that we offer. They are 2700 lumen. They articulate, well, it's pretty tight, but you can turn them in or out, front or back, and be able to load at nighttime. You know, you can point them out to the side. If you're doing, even if you're not loading, you can actually point them out to the side so that you can have additional lit up workspace, say, out beside the trailer. This one has the full width chain rack as well. It's welded on. It's available in a bolt-on after the fact as well. If you wanted to buy one and retrofit a trailer, comes with the catch can. You just screw it to the floor. And that way, the pins are on both sides, but you can open this flap, hang your chains across there, shut it, and you could actually replace this pin with a padlock to where that nobody can steal your chains. Because, man, out on the road, for whatever reason, beyond me, but people like to take things that don't belong to them, especially away from the ones who they see, man, they're grinding, they're working hard for their stuff. And we all know those chains and binders and things are not cheap. So definitely want to get a locking chain rack if that's something that you carry with often. Let's go look for some more colors. I spy a nice lime green one down here. We're gonna go take a look at it. FMAX 210. It's a great point to bring up now that I'm looking at this FMAX 210. We talked about in the beginning of the video, or in the beginning of this walk around, finding the right trailer for you. So you definitely want to make sure you do your homework on, how often you're going to be using the trailer, what kind of mileage you're going to be running, to make a good determination on the right trailer for you. So, because the last thing you want to do is buy a trailer because it appears from first glance that it's the right one, or just because it's what the dealer has, it's the right one for you. And long term, then you're upset, or you just don't have a good customer experience because it really truly wasn't the right trailer for the job. And so, FMAX 210, it's a great trailer for, for general hauling around, maybe it's the farm, or even some, light repetitive hotshot. But ultimately, I mean, it's a small margin. The 210 is available up to 40 feet because there are areas, whether it's farming and stuff, where it makes sense for that kind of cubic capacity or length capacity. But in most cases, you want to, if you're doing a lot of high mileage hot shotting or heavy equipment hauling, even though the capacity is there, it's kind of like a 2500 versus a 3500. You've got this job to do, and it's hauling fairly heavy, loaded all the time. From first glance, the 2500, sure, it'll hook up and do the job, and so will the 3500. But in 2 years' time, the engine in both trucks is great, which compare the engine to be the main frame. And then, but the suspension of that truck is gonna be far more stressed on a 2500 than it is the 3500 when you're talking about long-term ability, long-term sustainability over time. So make sure when you're looking at it, is this the right trailer, the right suspension for the job that I need to do? It's a big thing. It's that whole return on investment. You want to make sure you're gonna get a long-term return on your investment, because you will be, if you're overusing or using a trailer beyond its means, then you will be replacing and maintaining items that sooner than you would if you had the correct trailer for the job. So anyways, back to this one. FMAX 210 in the lime green. It's got hydraulic jacks like we saw in that other hydraulic Dove. It's actually got the full steel runner with cleats. Pretty sharp trailer, being that it's the really cool lime green color. All right, little sidebar. There's a lot of you guys that have been waiting on the MVC, the relaunch of the MVC, or the multi-vehicle carrier. I've got a couple of prototypes sitting here with me of the new MVC. Both of these are 44 feet. Both of them are 10K axles. One of them is a secret as to the exclusivity of it. Let's just leave it at that. But there's a gray one here, there's a blue one here. 60-inch spread, torsion axles are standard. Got the nice long swept dovetail down here, and then 8.5 foot slide out ramps on this one. You can see up there the beam, how it's contoured just like the big trailers. And so this one again is an early prototype, but it's expect for release, official release in the next couple of weeks. One thing I wanted to talk about, we talked about hydraulic jacks, then you have standard jacks, so standard jacks, the old regular crank jacks, 12K drop legs, you know, those are the standard jack, kind of standard in the industry. You got hydraulic jacks, and then here's another option. This is Jost brand 2-speed jacks. Most of the time, 2 speeds, they're great if you have to unhook loaded, because they have, like the name says, 2 speeds. They've got a much tighter low speed gear that, yes, it takes more revolutions to get it lifted, but much less effort spinning it around. Then if you're gonna unhook from your truck or tow vehicle unloaded, it has a high speed gear, which takes far less revolutions. So these are actually aluminum cased, and they got a steel drop leg, just like the 12Ks, they've got a drop leg, it's spring loaded. But the cool thing is they're anodized black, but they are aluminum extruded jacks. Same brand that a lot of semi-trailers run is the Jost. So those are pretty sweet option. Not a lot of added dollars. You know, it's probably, I think the option's like 900 bucks, 800 or 900, which in the grand scheme, when you're putting together the ideal trailer, that's not a lot of money for the benefit of hooking and unhooking fairly easy. Talking couplers, here's another example of the 40K Telus coupler, but you have your normal round 2 5/16 coupler, like on this trailer here, this 210, but then you also have an option for a square coupler that's a load leveler. It's got the jack handle on top, and the beauty about this coupler is you loosen your set bolts, and even with the load on the trailer, you can take and raise and lower your trailer to get it to ride level. That's why it says load leveler. Then you simply tighten your set bolts back down and you're ready to go. Versus on the round coupler, to set your coupler height, you have to kind of guess at where it's going to be and then take the load off of the coupler and move it up and down, pull the pin, move the coupler up and down to get the bed set just where you want it, put the pin back, tighten the bolts up, then let it down on the trailer. That's kind of a common, something that we should talk about though with the round coupler, is when you're setting your ride height, make sure that you unhook from the truck after you've kind of found where you want it to be. Unhook from the truck, then tighten your set bolts. Because if you don't, and there was weight on the ball or on the coupler, you try and tighten those down, and say the trailer's not on a perfectly level incline, and that coupler moves around, you're never going to get these as tight as they should be, and then you're going to be subject to the coupler moving and actually wallering out the pinhole. So you want to make sure that you set and tighten these with no weight on the coupler to where it's good and snug. One quick side note, when we're talking about colors, this metallic gray is definitely one of my favorites. It's got all that sparkle. You see that? That DM coating is shining, and that's a lot in part to, you know, the whole process of the DM coating system, but definitely one of my favorite colors because, number one, it's other than black, and this charcoal goes with pretty much anything. It's a great color. So let's see, there's another color over here that is, so we have like eight or 9 standard colors you can choose from on the online quote builder, but this one is not a standard color, but it's unique. It's like a kind of a OD, you know, army color, military color, I should say, but it is desert tan. So this is a FMAX 210 hydraulic dove, similar to the one that we looked at earlier, but it is, they've requested desert tan, which is a sharp color. So when we have that conversation about what you're using the trailer for, I've mentioned several times Hotshot. Hotshots, growing industry. There's tons of interest in it, and right now with the state of the demand and on products, and with the economy just roaring like it is, there is an increased demand for Hotshot trailers, and it varies. I mean, not everybody is a 40K load Hotshotter that wants to deal with that kind of weight. There are tiers kind of Hotshot, and what's right here, this blue one, is a FMAX 208, and it looks to be, you know, I don't know the customer personally, but the way this one was built, I just can imagine he went online, had a specific job he's doing. He is hot shotting, you know, kind of maybe lots of partials, sometimes some, you know, single, kind of more concentrated loads. But the 208's a great trailer for that because it's got, you know, the 8K axles under it, which have bigger brakes than 7Ks, but it keeps a single tire. It's kind of the best of both worlds. Weight-wise, it lands, you know, between that 210 and that 207, so it's not eating up a lot of your available payload while being rated at 18,000 GVWR. So this one in blue, he's got slide track and ratchets. He's right there, he's got, like we saw earlier, he's got the 8.5 foot long dunnage rack, max ramps. So the cool thing about these 8Ks on this one, it appears they got the Valcrum oil caps. I'm trying to see, yeah, for sure. These are disc brakes, hydraulic disc brakes on this one, which provide, again, better stopping power and lesser overall maintenance costs in the future. He's got we talked about the full width chain rack. Well, this one has the 16-inch chain rack, so gives you space for a few chains there. What else? He also opted for the winch plate, a couple extra toolboxes on the side. It's a sweet intermediate hotshot trailer, but with the 8K axles, you know, definitely is built for the road. It's got 215/17.5s on it. Gonna be able to see a lot of mileage with no, you know, be able to see a lot of mileage compared to like a 7K with a 10-ply tire or even a 14-ply tire. These are regroovable tires and should make for a fantastic midweight or mid-class hotshot trailer. Well, back up. So on this 208, one thing I gotta do, I gotta plug for our boy Tevin with VA Hotshots. If you haven't followed him, go jump on YouTube and follow or subscribe to VA Hotshots. He runs a 208 very similar to this, 40 foot, it's red. Go check out his videos. He's got some testimonials on him. He actually is living, breathing proof of somebody who's used a trailer just like this to make a living day in and day out. All right, so we've talked a little bit about loading style. You've seen a hydraulic dub, you've seen a max ramp. So what we're going to look at right now, we're walking back up kind of toward the office. We're going to look at the XDR. You know, not seen a lot, but very intentionally built and purposeful in that intention. So, but what I wanted to take a second to talk about is the next evolution of the FMAX or the Fleetneck series. We've got Fleetneck 2.0 that our engineers and R&D department are working full steam ahead to roll out late this year. FMAX 2.0 Fleetneck 2.0 takes the engineer beam concept that has been in production now for, 4 years? Is that right? It's about to be 4 years. You know, thousands and thousands of these trailers already have broke the barriers of what a gooseneck trailer had to be for so long. But 2.0 actually takes it to a whole nother level. Different material composition, you know, all kinds of different advancements. You know, I can't go into great detail at this point in time, can't give out all the secrets, but beware and be on watch for Fleetneck 2.0 as it comes out and makes another splash to raise that bar again, raise it up to a higher standard than even what we have today. So be on the lookout for that. Next stop, XDR ramps. Let's go take a look at them. Well, Brian and I are a little confused because the trailer was sitting right here, but now it's not. And so we're not real sure what happened to it, but we're about to go find it. It may be about to be shipped, headed to a dealer near you, but we'll go find it right quick because we want to show you those XDR ramps. All right, so we found our guy, charcoal gray FMAX 216, and these are the XDR ramps we were talking about. 24 inches wide, 60 inches long. You know, the max ramps have been great. Max ramps are like that panel over there. They're the two 44-inch wide ramps, but that's not exactly what's best for everybody because on those, there's no space between. And so on this one, it's got a very intentional gap between. So if you're hauling an excavator or something where you need to set a boom, an arm, or a bucket down between, you've got a gap there to do it. And also, it's got the big knee ramps on the back, so hauling heavy, concentrated, loaded equipment is much better in this case because it's just intentional. So let's see if I can set this down. It comes with the max ramp hold downs Well, or the new hold down latch system that we came out with last year. Completely out of the way. It's got the 2-part hinge system. So it's got one hinge inside and one out on the bumper, which makes lifting and moving the ramp a whole lot easier. Just takes a good flip, put the ramp back down. No more 2-inch ratchet strap holding it, and now the ramps aren't going anywhere. All right, guys, I hope that was insightful. I hope it helps you, when it comes time to making decisions, some options that may help you. Picking the right trailer is a huge part of it to begin with. And so I hope that helps you in your journey with your next gooseneck trailer. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of our latest videos. Go to Instagram and Facebook and follow us there, and we'll see you on the road.